And it looks like we are live. Welcome, welcome to Connection with Spirit. I am Larissa Russell.
And I'm Deborah Epstein, and I'm so happy to be here chatting with you.
It's true. We usually talk weekly, and I think it's been 2, maybe 3 weeks because there's been one thing after another. And so,
Mhm.
again, so we're live here to share that conversation on all the things that we're getting caught up on and all of that. And on today's topic, you pulled a card today that is very fitting. Do you want to share?
Yes. Yeah, there's actually two things. I poured myself a cup of tea and it says, be fearless and know that all will be provided at the right time. Because we're talking about letting go of outcome and not forcing for outcomes and that kind of stuff. And then the card I pulled is from the The Wisdom of the Oracle by Colette Baron Reed. Colette Baron Reed. And it was the higher power card. And like, ooh, connection with spirit, higher power. It's just a good reminder of like the whole reason we started doing this. It's like,
Exactly.
it's about connection with spirit, right? And what do we have to do when we connect with spirit? We get to let go. But
Very much so.
the essential meaning of the higher power card is conscious contact with the higher power, the presence of the divine, seeing source energy in all things, committing to a partnership with spirit. And this card it reminds you that you are more than a person trying to get ahead and make things happen for yourself and others. You have an immortal soul and are gifted with the human life through which a higher power can express itself. At this time, you need to be conscious of your connection to spirit and foster it through prayer and meditation. Ask, what is the highest good for all? How can I serve? Then get out of your own way and trust that there is a plan for your life, more wondrous than you can ever know. You are always protected and divinely directed. And I felt like, wow, that was really perfect
It's
for
perfect.
where we're going. Yeah. So it's a
Yes, the
good.
letting go. And just as you were saying that, it made me think of this. I have written right beside me, prayer is how you talk to God. Meditation is how you listen.
Mhm.
That's a constant reminder for me that, it's about listening. Stop talking, listen.
Shut up. You shut up now. You listen. You listen now.
Yes, I'm very good at the talking. It's like shush, just shush and listen. So
Yep.
yes, reminder. Yeah, absolutely. So,
Mhm.
and letting go of what the outcome is going to be. You were just telling me a story that you might want to share about letting go and, the difficulties when you expect things to go in a certain direction and then they don't always work out that way. And so it's the waiting. I
Mhm.
guess all our stories are very similar to that. Now that I start thinking about it, we have this conversation on a regular about, wanting things to be a certain way and even being able to see the vision
Mhm.
that you've been given. And then you
Yeah.
just want to like run there. It's going to run I see it. I see it. I'm going to run there. And it's like, no, you have to allow it to unfold.
Yeah. Yeah, organically unfold, right? Because that's right. It is. It's so funny because I think when I'm like, oh, which story was it? Because I told you a couple. Just to like prove the point. Like I am so in that right now. But
Yeah.
all the paintings of the guides I'm working on those, and those have been calling me. They came in the guides for the Cosmic Dreaming Lodge. All of that kind of started a few years ago. I think I got my business up and running right around COVID. I think 2019 was when I kind of started dipping my toes in the water. And that was like at the end of 2019. And then by 2020, I'm like, guess what we're doing, kids? We're going to be doing classes, because now I can't do hands-on work. So, and that it was right around, I think it was in the fall of 2020 when I got this like boom download Cosmic Dreaming Lodge. And I, had drawn sketched all of these guides. Come to find out, when I was looking, I'm kind of backtracking a little bit. In 2014 is when I started really drawing these guides. And I didn't realize that what I was drawing with these guides, because I was it wasn't too long ago, I was looking through some of my old sketchbooks and I saw actually a drawing for this one behind me. Her name is Illyria. And I was like, wow, like 2014, she was hanging out there. Wow, that's cool. And I drew her back then, and then I drew her again. And even the sketch is almost identical from the first sketch to the second time, which was years later when I sketched her again for that painting. And so anyway, I've been slowly working 9 paintings on 9 paintings. One of them is, well, 2 of them are done now. Woo, 2 of them are done, but they're in different varied stages of done. And some people will look at them and like, well, how would you even like, they look done to me. And it's like, no, because I know what, they're talking to me. They're telling me what they want. So I know they're not done. That's how I know. Because I could just call them all done, really, and
Mm.
just, but they're
No one
there's
else would know, but
nobody
you
else would know, but I would because they're going to be like hounding me about it. So
would.
they're not finish me. I need this thing here, whatever. But yeah, so it's been on, for over the last three going on 4 years, really. This is 2024 is 4 years.
Mm.
But yeah, in the fall is when I started. So going on 4 years. And they all have a story. They're all archetypes. They're cosmic couples because there's a male and female to each one of them. Each archetype, so to
Mm.
speak, has a male and a female counterpart to it. That all evolved as I was doing it. It's
Mhm.
not like I sat and wrote down, like planned it, like this is how it's going to go, and I'm going to do this, this, and this. I've been on this journey with them, along with my business, for 4 years. And then last year I was really getting the hit, like, you need to slow this down and you need to do more of this. And of course I resisted it, right? Because, well, no, like I need to keep going with my business. I need to be doing this because this is how I make money and this is how I make a living. And this is like all of the things, right?
Mm.
But it's, what I shared with you before we went live is like every moment that I spend working on this painting is a moment that I'm closer to completion on not just the project to be done, but until the next stage comes up, because there's something more beyond it. I don't know what it is. But I could also, like, things I've noticed about myself as I'm doing this project. I've really gotten to know some interesting little tricks I play. And it's like being able to catch yourself and being really honest with yourself, because you don't grow if you're not honest with yourself. And then you have to admit, like, okay, yeah, like when I got to completing, like I have a painting, I don't think you can see it because it's behind the other one, but it's the genie painting that I have, the blue genie.
Mm.
And I just literally had like a couple of touch-uppy things to do before I could say, okay, you're done. And I came into the studio one morning and it's like, oh, she's really loud. I need to work with her. And while I'm working with her, like he's kind of pulling my attention, going like, well, aren't you just gonna put, like, it's like a little tiny planet. It was like literally, like, it wasn't even an inch. It was like maybe a quarter of an inch round circle. That was it. And then he was gonna say, I'm done. And I was like, oh man, like look what I just did. Right. It's like, this is
Mhm.
why sometimes things take the time that they take, is because, I'm in production with a lot of different things. And, you're kind of working here, you're working here, you're working here. This is quiet and I got this to work on. So I'm always busy doing something, but it always feels too, because I'm always busy in some stage of doneness that I never really get done. So, I had to call myself out on that one. And it was really interesting. So I did 2 things. I congratulated myself for noticing
Mhm.
instead of beating
Yeah,
myself up. That's huge right there. I don't know how
that
you
is
guys are
huge.
about that.
Yeah.
That is huge.
Mhm.
Then I had a party.
Dance party.
Yeah, and then I finished it, and then it felt good to finish it. And I think the part of that story that I didn't complete with you, because I started talking about other things, was what I noticed when I completed that and put the glaze on it and I put a painted the outside edge of it, because it's an 1.5 or 2 inch deep canvas. So it has like really thick edges. So I like to complete by putting that on there, and I hung it on the wall with all the other guides, and I did a ceremony. And what I noticed is like that evening in my dream time, I got huge downloads, energetic downloads. And I was like, ooh, so sometimes I'm not going to say this happens with everything that we do, but there's something that shifts within us when we do something, whether it's completing a project or whatever, what have you. When you stretch yourself in a direction that you're breaking a pattern for yourself, you do get some kind of upgrade. Something shifts within you because you just proved a belief system wrong
Hmm.
by doing something against it, and that can feel funny, that can leave you feeling funny, like, oh, I did something wrong. And it's just when you do that, you just start to notice, how do I feel now that I've done this thing that I stretched myself to do this thing I've never done before. And I get to feel awkward about it, or I get to feel this way about it, or I get to receive some downloads because of it, or, something else opens up as a result, and that's the thing. We don't know until we do the thing, right? We just don't know. We're in the unknown.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, absolutely. And that whole, getting comfortable with the uncomfortable
mhm,
is such an important part. I talk about this a lot in my mastermind, is that getting comfortable with the uncomfortable allows that to happen, right?
mhm,
Because
mhm,
if we don't allow ourselves to be uncomfortable, we don't go anywhere. We
mhm,
just stay right where we are, and then we're spinning our wheels and wondering why nothing's happening. Why is nothing happening? Why is what I want not happening? Well, because you're not willing to be uncomfortable. And
yeah.
and we all do it. I often catch myself, right? Because that is celebrate. Catch yourself when you are aware. You go,
Mhm,
oh, I see what I'm doing here.
yeah.
See what I'm doing. And for me, it's often the opposite as I push through, and this is the letting go part, is that I'll go, oh, I see the end. I see where I'm supposed to be. So I'm just going to go there instead of allowing it to unfold and get those downloads and get those messages so that I can experience all the pieces. Because then I end up where I think I'm supposed to be. And I've missed all of these things that actually are supposed to be there with me.
Mhm,
Right. And so it's like, okay, yeah, I'm at the finish line. Oh, but I didn't pick up the baton here and I didn't do this and I forgot. And yeah, so it's not complete. It's not
yeah.
actually complete.
But even that, like I'm hearing that, and maybe too, like I'm just starting to be a little bit more easy on myself and a little gentler. So when I hear that, even, and I know too, as a coach, it's like, yeah, we want our people to like get their shit done, but it's the process of what we're creating is really zigzaggy
Hmm.
when you're trying to create, when you're trying to let go of the habit of ego driving, masculine energy driving, and doing a balanced dance of, like the doobie do, right? So it's the flow, being in the feminine flow, but then the masculine push every when you need to, and then also holding the structure, and implementing when you need to implement, and not just being like, oh, it'll happen when it happens. And that's a strategy too.
Hmm.
But there's a both and to that, right? And so I think where we can kind of bring more of the feminine into that process is not making ourselves bad or wrong, because maybe we needed a day of rest and you're honoring your system, because that's the feminine, right? We have to honor the body, that the vehicle that takes us around,
Hmm.
right? It doesn't do us any good to push, 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 and then we end up being sick, or exhausted or burnt out. We want longevity in the work that we're doing. So we're all in that learning curve, I think, right now, right? And that does call for a lot of surrender, calls for celebration too, when we notice,
Yeah.
where can I be gentle on myself when, if I drop the ball here or there, Yeah.
And we've talked about this before, but is the ball been dropped, or was that one of the steps that's one of the pieces of it? And so when we're constantly beating ourselves up or being very much in the masculine energy and pushing, or
Mm-hmm.
very much in the feminine and not doing anything, just allowing. And
Mm-hmm.
it's very much the find that balance, be kind to yourself as it all unfolds, and you do pieces, and it unfolds some more, and you do pieces. And that's
Mm-hmm.
how, even your paintings being done, they may have more later, right? So the painting
Mm-hmm.
is done, but maybe there's a book that goes with it, or maybe there's, a
Yeah.
show that goes with it. Like the next steps is something else,
Yeah,
right?
I can actually share the vision that keeps coming through for me is, and I
Mm.
don't, and I think I have kind of shared it with you before. I don't know if I've shared it in kind
I
of
think you've shared
this.
it with me. I don't know if you've shared it here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that it's going to be like this whole altar. I keep visioning it in a space and I keep seeing the paintings, the guides. It's actually more than nine. It's like they're supposed to be 12. Those other ones just haven't shown up yet. So who
Mm-hmm.
knows? There's after these are completed, there'll be other ones, but I see them in a healing space, like a healing ceremonial, creative space. I look at this space, I'm like, I can't accommodate that here.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's one of those, okay, spirit, I know you keep showing me this vision. I'm not going to get attached to that. I'm not going to go like, because right now, if I were being asked to do this right now, I'd be like, oh, I
Well,
know
maybe that's
it's,
why the other three aren't there yet. It's because
yeah,
you're not
yeah.
you're not ready for that yet.
Yeah, and I know, like when you do get a vision and it's like it just has that like dreamlike quality to it still.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to describe a vision because it's not 100% clear. It's like a sense of it. And then I can, when I'm at my altar, I can close my eyes and like be there in that space and feel the spaciousness around and then start to vision people coming in and like and then I that feels really good to me. It
Mm-hmm.
just feels really good to be of service in that way where, and I think this is where I've been going with my healing work is that um it's generating a field of energy and maintaining the field of energy and allowing people to walk in and have their experience. Allow
Mm-hmm.
people to walk in and feel the vibration, take in what they need to take in, receive any messages that they need for themselves, because ultimately the action and the responsibility is theirs, it's not mine. And that's a huge lesson as a healer to learn because we live in and you know this, right? We live in this world where someone comes in and they go, okay, I need this fix, this fix, this fix, this fix, and I'm going to lay there and you're going to do it. And we also know that doesn't work. That's not how it
Mm-hmm.
works. You have to participate in either feeling or getting the messages, taking the action. Because I can, and I've done this before, I can open up your body where you have some fluid movement and you can feel really good. But if you don't make the changes that you need to be making, either on the emotional level, the spiritual level, the physical level, you're going to recreate that thing in your body
Mm-hmm.
and you'll be back to see me, and I want you to be successful. And, what do you need to start implementing on your path? Clean up your walk, basically, so that you're not
Mm-hmm.
creating this dysfunction in your body because our bodies aren't made to break apart like we think. Our bodies are meant to thrive and carry us. They're the vehicle that carries us through to do our work. Why would spirit give us a body that's going to break down unless that was part of the lesson, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And on the theme of letting go, it's the letting go to allow, but it's also letting go of what we are hanging on to so tightly to
Mm,
be able to move forward, right?
yeah.
And whether it's the stories we tell ourselves or, this idea of it should be a certain way.
Hmm.
And that's a big one, especially for women, I think. The idea that it has to be a certain way before we
Hmm.
can show it, or before I have to have a certification before I can do that, be a coach, or I have to go to art school to be an artist. I have, all of those things that we put on ourselves
Hmm.
that, yes, partly come from our societal expectations, but then we compound it with this perfection idea that we have, and letting go of that, just letting go and moving towards what is your purpose. It might be today, your purpose might be to just put color on paper, or, it could be registering your business. Whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
what are you meant to do? And moving towards that, letting go of what you've been hanging on to so tightly.
Mm-hmm.
Because chances are it's not serving you. If you're
Yeah.
hanging on that tightly, chances are it's not serving you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I love that it's like the opposite direction. It's like you've done all the things. You've done all the things that are required of you, and now you're waiting for something to move, right? The person to call, in our case with our werewolf gear, the canes to be done.
Mm.
We can't, generate an income if we don't have a product to sell, but it's like, how do you work on your business when you're kind of like in that stagnation? You know, there's the energetic push that you do, right? That
Mhm.
frustration, that like buildup of steam that you have no place to put it, right? And it requires you to let go.
Yeah.
Does, and then, well, there's always that too, like, well, if I let go, then it might mean I don't care. And if I don't care, then I'm putting I don't care energy into my business. Well, does it really mean that?
Or if you're me, does it mean it is out of your control and this is most likely happening for a reason? So
Yep.
let's do this other thing. Yes, I sent off my one last email because I'm in the middle of a merge and a migration and a rebrand. And
Yeah.
it should have been completed. It looks like it might be September now before it's completed.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And then, yeah. So I sent off one more. Can I just get a potential date so that I can work with that instead of you telling me what I want to hear or you think I want to hear?
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, okay, I'll just allow that. But I feel very stuck, right? I feel very stuck in
Mm-hmm.
that. And so to let go, I had to take an action. For me, I had to take an action. Okay, what's in it? I'm going to tell you what I need, and then I have to let go because I'm not in charge of it. They're
Mm-hmm.
migrating it for me. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't quite got there, mostly because I haven't gotten a reply, but but I'm working on it. But the letting, I can't do anything about it, right?
Yeah. And
I
it
could
would
change my
be,
mind and go backwards,
yeah.
but
Yep. Yeah, it's you've gone this far, right?
yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting because like as I'm listening to you, it's like, yeah, if you even just had the date that was sometime in September, you
Mhm.
could just kind of backtrack from there and go, okay, well, I can do this then. And you'd have some sort of a structure that you can work in, right?
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, it's like, so I need to be creating it this way. Okay, what am I to learn in this? Like what are some of the lessons for me in this,
Yeah. Well, and
And it's also, yeah, go ahead.
I'm a very hands-on, do the things, push through person. So
Mm-hmm.
I do believe that this might be part of the lesson, the letting go, because I said I have a launch in June. I need it to be done. Can that happen? Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we can make that happen. No, we can't. But
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that until the 1st of June.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like, okay, well, cancel that. Because it was supposed to be for the 21st and nope, not happening. All right. But now I've spent the last almost 3 weeks trying to find out what is the new date? What is the
Yeah,
new date?
that's a little
Because
frustrating.
you're
Yeah.
telling me what you think I want to hear as opposed to, but I'm looking at it from the place of not them, right? Like it's the what do I need to learn in this, right? What do I need
Mm-hmm.
to learn in this? What do I need to let go of? What do I need to take action on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's both,
Mm-hmm.
and really sitting with that. So going inward, because my first thought is like just to get mad and like, you know, I'll just do it myself or cancel the whole thing or. So that's my first reaction. And then I go, okay, breathe,
Okay, yeah,
breathe. And
yeah,
then, okay, listen, just listen. Okay, just
yeah.
chill. It's all unfolding as it should. I really hate that message, but it is. when I get that message, because I'm so used to
Mhm,
doing, when I
mhm.
get the message that it's all unfolding as it should, I'm like, how can that be? How can that be? But this is for me to go,
No,
oh,
it isn't.
patience.
This isn't how it should be going.
I'm like, okay, I'm glad you think it's all unfolding as it should. I had a plan.
Yeah, and this is not
That's the
going with it.
reminder. That is the reminder. If you're
Yeah.
going to go with the plan that's outlined for you, as opposed to, you know, running over it
Mhm,
and seeing it at the end and go, oh, I see the end. I'm going to go there and just allow, okay, I still want to be informed. It's my business. I still want to know what's happening so I can work with that. But
mhm,
then letting go of, okay, well, what can I do differently? Because I have no control over this piece.
mhm.
So me yelling and screaming is not going to make one whit of difference.
Yeah.
Yes. So I changed my launch date and we're doing some things that are different. Is it
Mhm,
messy? Yes, it is messy, but it's also letting me explore why it's messy and what needs to be changed as we merge the two, migrate and rebrand,
mhm.
which seemed like a good idea at the time to do all of that at one time. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like it would have been efficient, but
Yeah, it might have been.
yeah.
And once it's all done, I think it's going to be very good.
Mhm.
Like I feel that, not just think, I feel that.
Yeah.
It is the letting go of the expectation that things are going to happen the way I want them to happen.
Mhm.
And that's huge, right? That's
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
And that in itself is a lesson for me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, lessons are everywhere. And it's interesting because I was just saying to my husband, I think it was like yesterday, that our your business is can be the vehicle for you to expand in. Like totally. Like if you looked at it that way, instead of it like I'm going to start a business and this business is going to provide an income for me and it's going to, help me because it's going to help me do my work in the world and it's going to, it's going to do all these things. But it also is a place for where we're going to grow. We're going to go grow on all kinds of levels. And if you're, wanting to expand in a spiritual way, it's a great place to do that because I mean, we're in a time too, and we were talking also about the energy shifts that are the vibrational shifts that are happening on the planet right now, which also kind of feeds into the
Mhm.
chaotic things that we're experiencing. I mean, you could let yourself run away in the chaos and let it carry you away and you know how that feels.
Mhm.
Or you can deepen your spiritual practice, deepen your connection with your highest self as creator, where
Mhm.
you're, part of the God force, you're part of that. And we also have these personalities that I think we're working on to ease up a little bit, to kind of take the constriction, our restriction off of our soul, because our soul is really here to have these experiences for sure. But
Mhm.
our soul is growing, and then we as human personalities are growing as well. And as we're getting these energetic upgrades, well, guess what? The human part of us has to change and shift too. And then if that has to change and shift, then how we create our businesses and the way we live as a unity or
Mhm.
whatever also has to shift too. So I mean, there's shifting going on everywhere, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
In all aspects. And I do believe that a business for women, heart-centered businesses,
Mhm,
are very much that uh, space to do
mhm.
that growth and expansion.
Yeah.
And it's necessary, especially as women with heart-centered businesses, to do that, to be able to grow their businesses. And
Mhm,
that's one of the reasons the mastermind has um, evolved the way it has. We do a lot of energy work and healing work and self-awareness and limiting beliefs. We also do business,
Yeah.
However, that's just a minor thing that you can get anywhere.
Yep.
It's all of those other things in a collective,
Yeah.
right? And that creative energy, we do, creative as women with the feminine, the divine feminine energy, community, creativity,
Hmm.
self-care.
Yeah.
All of these things are energies that we need. And so to do things in a new way,
Yep. Yeah.
it's not new, but in new for what our societal expectations are, to do
Hmm.
things in a different way, these are the things that have to shift. And it's difficult to do when you're caught in the energies of the masculine and the patriarchy to shift it. So you have to let go of things.
Yep. Yeah. And that's where all the learning is too, because like you
Mm,
can't know how ensconced we are because yes, we're women. I remember having this conversation with someone, so I'm like, oh, I gotta be careful, but I'm not gonna be careful anymore. I don't care.
yeah.
But we all have that encoded within us because we grew up in it. We can't anymore go, it's them out there doing that thing. We're part of that system.
Mm,
We if it's in one of us, it's in all of us. And as we're going through this learning process, and yes, we can have the best of intentions in implementing and working from a heart-centered place. But when you set an intent, that's why it's like this non-linear thing. Like, I'm going to set an intention to be heart-centered. Well, what's going to happen? You're not going to all of a sudden just get heart-centered stuff back. No, it's going to show you all of the places where it's not
mm,
heart-centered. So
yeah.
that gives you the opportunity to work in it. I mean, you can go, oh, nothing works. And it's like, oh, it's because of this and it's because of that. Or you could go, wow, I better roll up my sleeves because we got some works to do here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's what I find comes about as women shift to do things differently, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because it has been so ingrained in us.
Yeah.
And so we have deep in us these energies that have just been suppressed. And
Yeah.
so allowing them, so they're not new, we're not adding them, we're allowing them and
You're
just
remembering them. It's really,
remembering, yes.
yeah, we're really just remembering. And then, it's like there is a part of us, each one of us, that has somewhere within us. Because if we have like ancestry, like we talk about ancestral healing and all that kind of stuff,
Mm,
but we have ancestral wounding that goes back through those generations, right? That, uh, behaviors were adopted for survival and all that kind of stuff. But we also have encoded within us, you know, stuff from the entire universe because we've been everywhere.
mm,
And that the coding that's coming onto the planet now, the light codes that are coming onto the planet, it's like we all have that encoded within us. And that's also waking up. And so people are experiencing now too, like, greater sense of intuition and, there's their gifts and skills coming online that they hadn't had before, which, everybody wants to, oh, I want these great gifts and stuff like that. With gifts come responsibilities,
hmm
right? And it's yours to manage and yours to work with. And, it's um when you get these things, these gifts that you want, like, well, how are you going to use that? And then what else is it going to shift in your life? Because it is going to shift things in your life,
hmm
like the things that you like to do that kind of lower your vibration. You won't be able to sustain this high vibrational gift if you're going to keep engaging in the low vibrational behaviors, right?
hmm
So it's like, oh, now I got to do this because you have to up the ante on yourself all the time if you want these things, right? If you want
hmm
these things to come online, if you want these things to open up. But that being said, it's like, it's so funny. I always laugh about this one because it's in me too, because I'm like, I'll be laying there, work, opening my body or whatever. And some parts of me are going like, oh, I have to do this. But it's like, are you kidding me? Like you like you're laying here stretching and it feels good. What you're gaining is more mobility in your joints and fluidity in your body, you're gonna complain about it, right? Because it's so much easier just to sit around and do nothing.
Mhm.
But it's like that's I know that's what you had said before. It's that story you're telling yourself about this direction you're headed in,
Mhm.
right? And we
Mhm.
get to that's another place we get to let go.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. So many, and I realize we haven't asked, said hello or anything, and
Yeah.
so you're welcome to chime in at any point. Mary Lee says, going through life kicking and screaming the spiritual about. Oh, goodness. Oh, yes.
She's a hoot. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
I'm liking that one. I've been a little heart on that one. That one's great.
the, anyone at all, if you're, watching now or in the replay, please feel free to chime in and share,
Yeah.
especially, I'm not, well, anything. I was just thinking if there's something that that you want or no want, need to let go of. I don't know what the proper word is there. That it's time to let go of. And
Yeah.
you
We
might
all have something, right? And yeah, I'm just getting this hit. And if you feel like you want to do this too, let's dive in. It's just like take a moment and just connect in with yourself. And um just close everyone, if you can just close your eyes for a second, just close your eyes for a second. And what you're going to do is just drop into your heart. And it's funny, it's right here in your throat, that thing in your throat. And I even had to clear my throat. That's the energy is, that I'm picking up is right there. And if you have your journals or you have your art supplies, just allow yourself. So don't use, this is like the hardest part here is so you want to translate what the feeling is to the image, right? So we can go right into our thinker and go, oh, it means this, right? Just allow something to emerge. First, feel it however you feel it. Like first, I feel the energy of it. I just feel the energy of it. And I feel where it's moving, where it's not moving. And then I'm going to go in a little deeper. So I'm going to ask you to go in a little deeper into your throat. And then what is in there? Is there a sensation? Is it a color? Is there a word? How does it want to come forward? And you're just going to like ask it, how do you want to come forward and show me? And then just give it the time it needs. It can come through right now. It can come through in 2 hours, 15 minutes, tomorrow morning, in your dream time. Just give it the space. And like, even like feel your body when you give it the space to show up for you, because it's there. You don't have to work at it. And it may just surprise you with whatever it is. So if it comes through now, just write it down in the way it wants to be written, or draw a picture, scribble a color, whatever it is. And the thing that's interesting for me that it's coming through right now is I'm just feeling a clearing from my heart up my throat. I'm just feeling space. And maybe I didn't need to know anything about it. I just needed to know I needed to let it go, and that's okay too. And if I need to know, it'll definitely tell me. It'll definitely tell me. But wouldn't it be just wonderful to like, if I don't need to know and it just wants to be open and I can feel a little bit more relaxed in my body, and then I'm creating in a more relaxed way. Did I really need to know what that thing was?
Hmm? Now, do I need to know what the message is?
Did you get a message?
I can see clearly what it was.
Mm.
I could feel it. I could see it. But I'll have to sit with it. It was chameleon. It was a
Oh,
chameleon just crawling up through my throat and like crawling up and through my throat but not coming into my mouth, right? Like it was like staying, but
yeah,
it was changing colors.
yeah.
So I was like, hmm. All right.
Yeah. What is chameleon? Has chameleon never come up for you before? Is that something that's a
No, it
normal?
has not come up for me, although it seems very fitting for me,
Yeah.
the changing,
Oh,
with all the
yeah.
masking I've done in my life and all of that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's ready to be released.
Yeah. I like my association that I have with chameleon is like very fun. I just like it makes me smile, a chameleon,
Well, and it
because
was,
they're
yeah,
just so
very
vibrant and
colorful, and
colorful. Yeah.
it was almost like a dance party because it was like changing colors. It wasn't like
Yeah.
slow, it was like sparkly and kind of like, I think of the rainbow, but it was like just changing colors all over the place. So
Yeah.
maybe it's
Yeah.
a letting go of that. Maybe
Yeah.
it's, yeah, I'll have to. I'll have
Yeah, I'm
to.
curious if anybody else had
Mhm.
anything come up and, share if you wish. If you don't, that's okay too. But it always makes life so much more fun and interesting when when you play
Mhm.
along. Um, but I think it's interesting like how fast the energy was moving too, because the minute I went in, I was like, I was gonna say everybody go into your heart. I don't even know if I got the words out. It's like, okay, we're going here.
Yeah.
We don't want to go into our heart. We want to go right here in our throat. And that's our
Mm.
expression, right? It's like it's the part of us that brings the thought into form. And we talk about the longest journey you'll ever take is the 11 inches or 9 inches, depending on how far for you from your head to your heart. But
Mhm.
then we have to think about the journey from our heart out into the world too.
Mhm.
Instead of using this all the time to operate from, that we're starting to become a lot more heart centered, right? Heart centered academy.
Mhm.
It's no mistake that you like
I
shifted
did
the
not want
name.
that name. I did
Yeah.
not want that name. I tried everything else, and then I had to finally ask because it was not, nothing was working. And I
Yeah.
finally am like, all right, I need your help. Just
Yeah.
what is it supposed to be?
Yeah.
And then I was like, really? Really? Is that what it has to be?
Yeah. But
Oh my
that's,
God. It's very fitting. I just
it
thought it
is
was a bit
so
cliche,
fitting.
but
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it's very fitting.
Yeah. But that's funny because it reminds me when Cosmic Dreaming Lodge was dropping in. I'm like, are you serious? I have to do Cosmic Dreaming Lodge. But it was so like, it's so not forceful, but that's not the word I really mean, but it was so in my face,
Yeah,
it was so in
yeah.
my face. And like, that's what I hear with you. It's
Yeah.
like, you can fight it, I guess, but it's just going to give you a
You can
hard
do something
time if
else,
you,
but it's not going to be the same. Yeah.
yeah, this is what we want to be called. And
Yeah.
when you think about it, like it's your business is doing what you're doing and it's
Yeah.
appropriate. It's an appropriate name.
It's a totally appropriate name.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
just was like, oh, come on. Yeah.
Oh, I love that, Carol. Yeah, I got the word allowing. See it as allowing. I love it. I love it. Yeah. It's interesting too, like when you do any kind of toning to open up your chakras, here, and from the heart, allowing that to come up from your heart, and let it get bigger through your vocal cords and opening up. Like that's, we talk about women all the time and that oppression or, being, what's the word that you used? Not, you didn't use oppressed, but not depressed either, but I don't know, you guys know, held back. It's what it equates to. Maybe it is oppressed. I just don't like the word.
I know.
But uh our expression has been held back too. And like, I had done it was a couple of years ago, I did this retreat, like a 1-day retreat. It was called Voice. And when I was doing the pitches for it to get people to join, I like decided to take a physical approach and let me like do a little research to see like, what's going on with women's throats. And as far as like thyroid conditions, like I think it's like one in, I don't even think it's 1 in 10. It was a high number, like 8 in 10 or something like that. Women will come down with some sort of thyroid condition in their lifetime, just based on the statistics. And so when you think about energetic blocks, like this physical matter is energy. It's the form of energy. It's a thought made manifest. That's who we are. You know,
Mhm.
we're creativity manifested into a form. And so we're further creating. What are we further creating? A dysfunction here because we won't speak up. We won't allow, allow, right? It
Mm.
it will affect our energy centers in our body and the associated organs that go with it. And so that is not something that we're consciously creating. That is something that we're unconsciously creating due to programming. And
Mhm.
so doing things like toning and actively working, I'm getting a vibrational shift right now. Things that we're actively working on, we have to work our energy too, and energy will inform the matter. It's energy first, matter second, right? So
Mhm.
if it's in here, yeah, you can shift it. Sometimes you need a little extra help with like hands-on stuff. Sometimes working the energy is great. You can shift the energy, but sometimes the form has to shift. So then you find someone that can help you do that, you
Mhm.
know, or
Mhm.
you can unwind it yourself too, by feeling like, our bodies, if you let go enough, can automatically correct themselves if you can allow it. um, I've just have witnessed amazing things in my time working with the body, of when
Mhm.
people can totally let go and trust the process of their body healing, because that too is a nonlinear event. Everything is nonlinear. There is
Mhm.
nothing that ever works in a straight line. Nature doesn't have any straight lines in it, right? Just look around. Anything you see outside of you, outside, inside, whatever, anything that has a straight line is man-made.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Nature definitely doesn't.
yeah.
That definitely doesn't. Carol says another message I got last week was everything I need comes from my heart.
I love that.
Yeah. And it's
Mhm.
that's very true. That's very true. Hence heart centered.
Heart-centered. Yeah. You guys are awesome. You're getting me all warm and fuzzy.
Yes, yes. It is it, the more we can learn to feel, or not even learn, the more we can again remember, allow ourselves to feel, because we're taught not to feel, right? That's
Mhm,
very much a taught. We're taught not to feel. And if we do feel, only in measured amounts.
mhm.
If we allow ourselves to feel, we can tap into what is best for us. And it's different for everyone.
Yeah.
Our society is based on the same for everyone.
Mhm.
And, everybody must fit this box. And that is not what's best for everyone.
Yeah.
What's best is listening. What's best for you? What is
Yeah.
best for you?
That stopped working a long time ago, and like, when I talked to my mom, she was like 20 years older than me, my mom.
Mm.
And so when she was going to school, she was in a one-room schoolhouse with varied kind of ages. But by the time we went to school 20 years later, it was organized classroom. And you go, if you're this age, you go here. If you're that age, you go there. Who said that that's
Mm.
like where you should be because you're of a certain age? Like, we all develop in different ways, and we have different needs, and everybody's going to learn this now because this is what we need to do. And it never fit anybody. And even the people that I can remember in my mind that, were doing everything they were supposed to do, ended up having nervous breakdowns later in life,
Mhm.
not to say that I didn't, but but it's like that was a gift too, because it's like I needed to make a shift. And that
That's
was
how
my
most of us
body's
have
way.
made change,
Yeah, it's like
is
you
that
get to
we
that
had that
point.
breakdown.
Yes. Break down to break through, and that's the way it works.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
until we're pushed to a certain point, chances are we're not going to make change.
Yeah. And I think what can change in that too, like when you start becoming more aware, and I think that's what you're saying right there is really important to understand, that without your awareness, you will unconsciously, and this may be where the gift is, in that you will unconsciously create a situation where you're going to like go flying into a wall, like, a brick wall at 1,000 miles an hour.
Mhm.
And guess what that's going to get you to do? It's going to get you to stop and ask a question that you wouldn't ask before, right? But now you have the awareness. So now you still have a choice though, right? Because you can go, okay, have this awareness and oh, like, I'm awake now. You can still go back to sleep. You can still be like your victim can kind of come up and go like, oh, that freaking brick wall, blah, 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 like I shouldn't have had to deal with that. Right. So it can still go either way. But when you start becoming a lot more awake and aware, you don't need those kind of brick walls anymore. You'll have like metaphorical brick walls that you will maybe go like, oh my goodness, look at there's a brick wall. What should I do about that brick wall? Should I
Yes.
just run and smash into it, or should I just kind of sit and wait and see what happens? Or is
It
there a
is
third choice? Yeah.
much less painful to, you know, see it coming and then choose, oh, maybe I should listen instead of like, yeah, because I've often joked about, I don't pay attention until I get hit upside the head with a 2x4.
Yeah.
And it's very painful, right? Because
Yeah.
that's, those major things that happen. Or here's a thought, start
Hmm.
paying attention before.
Yeah.
And yes, you're still going to have that 2x4, occasionally you'll see it and go,
Hmm.
oh, right, I remember that. Okay,
You
back
can
to
call it
center.
the 2x4 option.
It's like, I'm just going to go back to center and see, okay, oh, I could skip that and do something different. I'm going to listen and allow and let it unfold.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that instead because it's way less painful.
Right, a lot less painful. Yeah, yeah. I feel better at the end of the day too.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. So yes, letting go. And again, if anyone has anything they want to chime in with, we always love hearing from anyone. Or if there's topics that you'd like us to chat about, we're
Hmm.
here once a month, and uh, we it usually comes from conversations that we've had. We didn't used
Hmm.
to set any topic, and then more recently we've been sort of getting this, oh, there we go. That's our this month's topic. And but
Hmm.
if there's anything that you would like to talk about or have us talk about,
Hmm.
would entertain ideas for sure. Not that we ever have a shortage of ideas. However, we would be
Yeah.
willing to be listen to what you have also.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, I'm sure you guys can feel the energy and the shifting that's happening in the fields. And it doesn't have to, and I guess it's funny. I know some people get really worried and nervous about that, especially if you're watching what's going on in the news and out in the world in general, like the different things that are happening out in the world. And, especially when you start seeing the global weathers and, heat domes here and storms there and fires here. And, it's just chaos, right? It's just chaos. And I think, actually, I think a great topic would be is like, some things that we can do for ourselves to keep us centered, grounded during these times. I know for me, like, and it's just kind of naturally occurring, but it's kind of occurring to me now as I'm talking about this, that I think one of the things that really gets me through all of that is that my spiritual practices are just amping up.
Mhm,
And it's not like I'm not like giving to get in that sense. I'm not like, well, I'm going to start doing more of this so I can get more of that. It's just kind of naturally occurring and it's just following the rhythm. It's like my morning routine is something I would never give up. And I've actually added like physical activity into it too,
mhm,
as well as like I'm now doing this I am chant. It just kind of came to me to do that. And it just when I do an I am chant, and it's more of like I'm just going to invite you guys to do it if you want to, is you tone I, you start like in your body I, and then you imagine your energy going up and your tone will go up to I. And then when you're up here, you're pulling down am and you're grounding it with the am. So you're bringing that no all the way down into the earth. And then you do it, I do it 7 times. And what I notice about myself, my energy field, it cleans things out. It keeps me centered. It actually makes me feel very empowered. I actually feel my posture shift, you know, because when I'm not doing it, things, things can feel heavy. And when you're feeling heavy in your body's going to feel weighted down and your posture is going to be like that. It's not about perfect posture at all. It's not that.
Mhm.
It's that you're using energy to fuel you instead of your emotions. Your anxiety. We were talking about anxiety before we hopped on, and like being anxious and anxiety being a driver and how exhaustive that is to your systems. And
Yeah.
that if you can find a way to just soothe your nervous system, and what feels good and nourishing for you, I'm sharing a practice I'm doing and inviting you to it, but you don't have to do it. It's like, what are some of the things, not band-aids or fixes, but something that feels good, and exercise. Like if you love to go out and run because it strengthens your body, you want to strengthen your energy systems too, because this is energy we're talking about, that's shifting vibrational. Here in Sedona, I think we feel things like really big because of the energies that we live in. And awesome. You are doing the I am chant. Well, there you go. See?
Mm.
How timely is that? But when you're in Sedona, if you've never been here before, when you come into Sedona, one of the things that we say to people, and I've noticed this to be true when I was just a visitor, whatever you have going on in your life amplifies. It just gets in your face. And it gets in your face not to be mean, but so that you deal with it, because the
Mm.
energy is such that yeah, you want to clear up your garbage because it's just going to be uncomfortable for you. If you don't, it's going to be even more uncomfortable. That's why this place is so healing,
Mm.
because it amplifies not what's going wrong, but things you need to let go of. It gets big so you can see it. And then once you see it and you know it, you have the ability to release it,
Mm.
and or find someone that can help you release it. There's the gift in that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's really cool that you're doing the I am.
That is. I might have to incorporate that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that one. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know for my own self, creative expression is such an important part, but it's about not drawing something or painting something that I want to. It's the
Mm,
allowing what needs to be expressed to be expressed.
yeah.
And sometimes it's just a quick little something. And sometimes it's a lot more detailed than that, right? But just
Mm-hmm.
allowing, often it's then sitting with it, having to meditate with, not having to, choosing to meditate with it
Mm-hmm.
and see if there's messages as well. Sometimes it's just an expression and sometimes it's something more.
Mm.
It's an important, I think, an important um, activity for us to do. So yeah, very healing. Also, feminine energy.
Yeah. Yeah. What are the things, just ask yourself, what are the things that I can nurture myself, not just my physical self, but my energetic self?
Mm.
Because that is upgrading in all of us. Our energy is expanding, our fields are changing, the patterns in our energy fields are changing, and they're getting amplified. And so, yes, our body needs to be able to assimilate that. So that might be some of the chaos. If you're feeling chaos in your body, that might be some of why you're feeling that. And what can I do to just sit and allow that movement and that upgrade of energy? And what does my body need to be able to allow that new flow of energy to come in? And, even just like I'm doing this, right? This is
Mm.
something that you can do. It's, you can do this in and out, like this figure eight sort of thing at your chakra points, that it
Mm.
just gets energy flowing. Start paying attention to the energy behind you too, because we do have a behind us.
Mm.
Awesome, because we're so upfront all the time. Our vision is out there. We see things out there, right? You got to remember we have these other aspects of self.
Yes, we do. Yes,
We
we do.
do.
360, all the way around, all the way around.
Yeah.
I want to be conscious of time.
Yeah.
Tell us what you, or maybe before that, any final thoughts before I ask you what you're up to? Any
No,
final
I just feel like, where the direction we went today, it just really felt like we all needed a little nurturing, and it felt good to be able to just kind of open the space up to have that experience and have that experience with you guys who are on the live. And, if you're watching the replay, that I hope, I know energetically it will come through, because energy is always there. It doesn't know time. And,
Mm,
you're
yeah,
dropping into timelessness when you drop into this space. So, I feel very, grateful and blessed to be able to do that with you, Larissa, and hold space for everyone that shows up here.
I love it as well. I love our
Yeah.
conversations. I love
Hmm.
sharing our conversations. And this is pretty much how we have conversations all the time. Sometimes we get into, what's going on in our personal lives because, we've been friends for a while, but
Yeah.
this is the kind of conversations we have every week. And
Yeah.
then we share some of them with you, once a month. And so
Hmm.
grateful that some of you find that, beneficial.
Awesome.
Because we do. So we love it. What is going on with you right now?
Well, we're busy. We're going to be heading to Florida for some trade shows with a werewolf gear with a cane. The National Federation for the Blind and the American Federation for the Blind in Florida are having like back to back, and then doing some traveling, and just keeping up with my Substack blog and writing and getting these guys painted. My goal is to see how far. I'm not gonna like make it be like a very rigid goal, but just see how many I can complete by the time we head to Florida. So um I'm doing pretty good on it.
2 weeks
So
away, something
two
like
weeks
that.
away. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Going, and I've been also being called out to the land a lot. So I've been doing a lot of land ceremonies, and that to me is, yeah, that's really juicy. I just can't wait to I keep being called to do something like with a group or inviting a group in, and doing some healing, group healing ceremonies on the land. So that's going to be in formation too at some point. But yeah, it's just magical here. The one I did last weekend, all the ravens, there was just ravens everywhere where I was. I was in a dry creek bed, and I had a little altar that I set up and brought some crystals and stuff. And I was like connecting in and opening up the field, and I'm hearing all these like kind of weird noises. And I look around, and on all around me, like stadium seating, there must have been about 20 to 30 ravens just sitting there participating. And I was like, ooh, cool, and the
Hmm.
Raven's all about like, going into the void and all that kind of stuff. So it's like, ooh, that was kind of cool. So lots of magic.
Yeah. Love that. I
And
love
what
that.
about you? What else is going on with you?
Well, I'm just gonna say, Mary says, I love creating during these calls. Yes, we have heard that, and that's why we encourage everyone to bring their art supplies. And
Hmm.
yeah, what's going on? Well, our June launch got pushed back to September. However, we still have a business to run. So we are trying to rebrand on the platforms that we're on.
Hmm.
And it's very messy. So you don't may not know who we are. We are Creative View Business. Heart Centered Academy is where we're ending up. Yes, Heart Centered Academy is our new name. And so we're in the middle of all of that. We don't have anything new going on right now. We always have our awakening program, which is the divine feminine energies and exploring more of those, and also our aligned business building
Hmm.
mastermind, which is all about the divine feminine, but
Hmm.
in business, and which means a lot of healing work, creative work, all of those things, plus a lot of business. So
Hmm.
those are our two main things that we have going on. We will be doing a big launch in September is the plan. I'm crossing my fingers. I don't have an actual date from the migrate, or I'm leaving it up to them to give me a date, because when I
Hmm.
give them a date, they say yes, and then they don't do it. So,
We're gonna try this approach differently.
yes, we're going to do that. So, but we are around, and we may be confusing right now, but we are still here. We are still here.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. And then the only thing I wanted to mention too is our next live is going to be on, was it July 26th? Do you remember the date?
no, I think it was the August one we had to change. So I think
Okay. Oh, we're
July.
keeping it on the 15th. It's August. Okay,
Yes,
never
yes.
mind.
So next
Scratch
month,
that.
still time.
Yeah.
But the August one we had to change because I think you're away. between the two of us,
Thriving.
we
Yeah.
had to move some things around, but yes, so we
Yeah.
are here same time in July, and then I think it's the 15th or something, and then in August we moved it a week. Yes.
Hmm. Hmm.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for being here. Please feel free to
Indeed.
leave comments. Let us know what you think,
Yeah.
what more
Yeah.
you'd like to hear about, and we will see